Monterrey, Mexico has a population of around 5 million people, and once you've spent a short amount of time here, that number starts to make a lot of sense. This is a big, energetic, modern city, and the people here clearly know how to enjoy it. There's always something happening, always somewhere to go, and this city stays in motion. So if you're visiting Monterrey or just curious about what life looks like here day to day, this video is meant to give you a grounded look at what makes this place special, not from a guidebook perspective, but from simply being here and experiencing it. One of the first places people always talk about when it comes to Monterrey is Parque Fundidora, and that's for good reason. This is a massive urban park built on the grounds of a former steel factory, and it's one of the most impressive public spaces I've ever been to. The steel factory is open to visitors, and you can even ride up and down the building in this very industrial and old-timey kind of elevator. It's the exact ones that the steel workers would use to do their job. At the heart of the park is what's often described as the world's largest man-made river, and it all begins at this giant Art Deco style fountain that looks like an oversized water pail spilling endlessly forward. From there, the river winds its way through the park, creating a long linear space that feels calm but alive at the same time. You can actually take a small ferry that runs up and down the river for a modest fee. It's pretty small, but at the same time it does fit a lot of people. But if you're like me, you'll prefer to walk the full length of the wide sidewalks that follow alongside it. And that's what really stood out to me. This park is consistently in use. People walking, jogging, rollerblading, other traveling contraptions that I'm unfamiliar with. I mean, this park feels genuinely lived in. Beyond the river itself, the Parque Fundidora is packed with things to do. There are museums, restaurants, performance spaces, fountains, and long landscape paths that seem to stretch forever. It's one of those places you can show up with no plan at all and still spend hours just exploring. In my opinion, this park easily is comparable to some of the most famous parks in the world. When I was there, they were featuring the body exhibit, which is a little bit freaky and not necessarily my cup of tea, but it's a very popular exhibit nonetheless. And if and after you've done all of that, you're probably going to be pretty hungry. But as I'm sure you know, Mexico has some of the best food in the world, and Monterrey is no exception. One place that we kept coming back to at Paseo La Fe Mall was Barra 22. We love stopping by Barra 22, especially for the fish tacos. They're fresh, simple, and incredibly affordable for the quality that you're getting. This is the kind of food that doesn't try too hard, it just works. It's simple ingredients, and everyone that I've taken there has really loved it. And I definitely recommend checking out the drink menu while you're there. I even grabbed some shots of the whole menu because honestly, seeing the prices alongside the food, that just kind of tells a story all on its own. Oh, but the mall itself is worth talking about. Paseo La Fe is a large, modern, and thoughtfully designed mall. And it's not an outlier. Monterrey has a surprising number of impressive malls. Shopping here feels less like a chore and more like part of the social fabric of the city. And if you're curious about the more high-end side of things, Paseo San Pedro is easily one of the most luxurious malls I've ever visited. This is where you'll find brands like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and plenty of other names that make it very clear things are about to get expensive. Unless you're like me and you don't spend any money here. But even if you're not shopping, it's still fascinating to walk through and take in the design, the atmosphere, and the scale of it all. But for low-cost shopping, there's lots of places that you can go, like Maxi Home, for example, where you can buy what we'll call discount luxury goods. This is a great place to go shopping if you're not trying to spend too much, and if you're okay with wearing knockoff sunglasses, which, as it turns out, I am. I'm very okay with it because these are really good replicas. Another standout mall is Punto Valle. This place has one of the most visually interesting layouts I've seen for any outdoor mall. Everywhere you look, there's a carefully framed view of the surrounding mountains. It's modern, it's open, and somehow still feels connected to the landscape around it. And if I didn't mention, also very high-end. And that's really one of the defining characteristics of Monterrey, is the scenery. The city is surrounded by mountains, and no matter where you are, they seem to find their way into the background. I have always been drawn to mountain views, and there's something about this particular geography that feels dramatic without being overwhelming. The mountains don't feel distant here. They feel like they're a part of daily life. You'll see them from the highway, and really anywhere you go, the mountain views are not far away. Sometimes they're sharply defined against the sky, and other times they're softened by clouds. Either way, they give the city non-stop incredible views, which is one of my favorite things about this place. And if you want to understand how Monterrey became what it is today, another place I'd highly recommend is the History Museum. It does a great job of presenting the story of the region through preserved artifacts, artwork, and interactive exhibits that are approachable without feeling shallow. When I was walking around, I did get a sense of what the history was like here, and I felt a lot more informed, but this isn't exactly the most fun you could have in Monterrey. It's worth doing, but it's not necessarily the most fun you could be having. For that, you have to wait until the sun goes down. At dusk, the city doesn't slow down, especially on weekends. Streets are busy, restaurants are full, and there's a noticeable energy in the air. This isn't just limited to Monterrey proper either. Nearby areas like Apodaca often have events and gatherings happening as well, making the entire metro area feel connected and active. I walked around one of these at night and it was a lot of fun. There were lots of vendors selling gift shop type items and live music. But what stands out most to me about Monterrey is how confidently it balances scale and livability. It's a large, modern city with serious infrastructure, but it still makes room for parks, views, and everyday moments that feel human. And there's a lot more to explore here that can fit into one single video. But if you're someone who enjoys cities that feel alive, surrounded by dramatic landscapes, and full of places to wander without an agenda, Monterrey is absolutely worth experiencing. And if you've made it this far, please subscribe, like the video, and let me know in the comments where you're from.